This message is simply my way of saying, I'm over it. I grew up thinking I wanted to be a boy because of the sexist gender roles I'd been placed in as a kid. All from my mother. I heard every excuse in the book. Girls don't sit like that. Girls shouldn't play with those toys. Girls don't play video games. Women should cook and clean for their men. When many of the boys grew out of those interests and played Call of Duty or GTA 5 on their Xbox 360s, my family's Nintendo Wii was my best friend and an opening into one of my longest loved hobbies and special interests in my life. The boys didn't think I was as much of a gamer as them because I wasn't playing with fictional gangsters in Saints Row, but riding on Yoshis in the Mushroom Kingdom instead. And the girls didn't understand why I wasn't nearly as into crushing on cute boys and putting on makeup in school. I even kissed a guy and had a short-lived boyfriend, but I didn't see the point in pining for him. By that time, around the 2015 year, I knew of gay people, but I never thought I could live as one because my mind would always tell me I'd let my family down. I thought about my aunt as I took every single Am I Gay online quiz related to lesbians, every single time, because I looked up to her the most and remember wanting to live like her. Live with another woman and prosper in my career, whatever that would be. I remember watching movie after movie and looking at the women in them, wishing I could be with them instead of in their shoes. Going into gym class? That's a wrap. Prepubescent to pubescent growing bodies all around me, with the sweat from their backs and their gym pants ever so slightly conforming to their legs and thighs. It was a nightmare to maneuver so I wouldn't be creepily looking like a weird pervert. It was so hard to look away from some of them though. I never wanted to come out to be lumped into a community full of hatred and forceful behaviors. I never wanted to come out to a community that would essentially echo the homophobia that I had faced from family and specific classmates in school, just wrapped up in a pink, white, and blue ribbon of tolerance, living the truth in gender identitarianism. I never grew up to hear that my hardcore love for all things Sonic and the Wii avatars called me's, because they're apparently connected to autism, would be the catalyst for so many people escaping from their own gender nonconformity, despite us all inherently being neurodivergent, thus connecting the two more. I never thought that the community would turn on me because I am exclusively same-sex attracted and expressed it openly by means of fiction writing, crush having, and encounters I have with other women. I never thought that the idea of being a tomboy would be the basis of so many girls as young as 11 to 13 identifying as another gender and asexual due to the rampant hypersexualization of women and young girls. I never thought that I would seem to be an outsider to the community I would believe to be very welcoming. Yet I am here, living proof that there needs to be a true welcoming environment for legitimate same-sex attraction and less involvement from seemingly bored heterosexuals who want to escape their normal status and identify into what they believe is queerness. I don't want to be shouted down by people who will never grow up experiencing same-sex attraction, being put into the closet for bullshit reasons, nor even heard any of the things that we did. Why is it so hard to play gatekeeper from the community from these exact types taking over? Why should I cater to the people who would turn their backs on me the moment I no longer step on their eggshells and use their newspeak language? The same people who would beg me to cater to each and every new sexuality made up on a passing whim while ignoring my very genuine homosexuality. I'm over it. The fact that I must specify the concerns I have about writing a script like this is alarming. The fact that your familial connections, friendships, potential romantic partners, and even your very own career prospects can be whisked away with a snap of the fingers the moment you even start to question these prevailing pushes to normalize stupidity and change the way we speak is alarming. The fact that merely satirizing the major issues in the community soon to be mentioned is treated as a traitorous act, all whilst fostering a safe space that allows for people to act as emotionally unhinged as possible without even challenging their own worldviews, is only the tip of the iceberg in my constant search for truth and self-realization. I don't want to have to deal with the people constantly potentially canceling a perfectly decent friendship, date, or job offer just because I couldn't deal with the constant lying and virtue signaling and backhanded ways they treat me for the sake of the cause. However, to deliver this message is to show my unapologetic desire to shift our community in the positive direction we seem to be heading in just a decade ago, where I felt a little bit safer to understand that I like girls. But coming out publicly in 2015 has lumped me in with the folks who think it's okay to trivialize definitions of sexual orientations and make up new identities and sexualities on the fly for clout. It has lumped me in with those who think it is okay to push young and vulnerable people seeking spaces of belongings into outright spite-filled holes of irreversible damage dealt to our minds, souls, and possibly our bodies. My sexuality is not nasty or impure, and I don't just wish to hold hands, cut my hair into a mullet, and be an uwu soft sapphic in the meadows. I have a very real sexual and romantic connection to women, very real cravings for women that surpass the cutesy and innocent intimacy. I had dreams since I was in my youth that I could be intimate in every way possible with the woman as my long-term partner. I wanted to be the right person at the right time for a woman, to kiss her and hear her tell me she loved me the way that I would love her, to experience true, unwavering mutual romance with another woman. This is the whole truth. And the whole truth doesn't indulge any lies perpetuated by straight men who thinks that all it takes to be a woman is to wear skimpy hypersexual clothing or borderline teen clothing and squeal as they force lesbians to top them in bed, successfully completing their sissification. The truth does not indulge any lies perpetuated by traumatized and depressed gay teenagers of both male and female varieties, having been pushed into transitioning or self-identity into the confusing world of being non-binary as they half smile and destroy their bodies and mental sanity to appease the hyper-progressive and hostile internet mob so they won't be potentially doxxed for saying the wrong things online. A lie can be molded into any worldview you wish for it to take. And much like we have been dismantling the homophobic lies perpetuated by the hard right, i.e. conversion therapy to be good little straight Christians, we need to keep that small yet extremely vocal minority group of leftists in check with reality and prevent any more pain in more vulnerable groups, including bullied, neurodivergent, and disabled people, young girls, and survivors of sexual trauma within the LGBT community. Keep them away from the opportunistic creeps who will make a fetish out of their real traumas and concerns of sex-based oppression. Keep them away from anyone who wants to eliminate single-sex spaces and blur the lines of reality for dating and other social interactions. Keep them especially away from places like the UK's Tavistock and Mermaids and Stonewall, as well as the American-made Trevor Project, and it gets better, who will place you on the fast track to be a permanent client to the big medical, pharmaceutical industry with hormones, surgeries, and full frontal regressive gender identity theories, as well as self-serving therapists that want to make bank from the monetization of vulnerable communities. We have to show the greater part of society that there is another way to live with your same-sex attraction, the way many of us have been living our lives since our fight for marriage equality. We cannot let the vocal minorities on the left and right dictate who we are and shift the narrative of our rights and treatments. This message is simply my way of saying I'm over it.